Badenoch has demanded that the government launches an immediate inquiry into child exploitation in Britain, despite not doing that for 14 years in power. And this comes as Keir Starmer is attacked over his handling of the Oldham grooming gang scandal when he was head of the Crown Prosecution Service, with Labour doing this stuff.
No, I don't think this is just another self-harming incident. I think this is by far the worst sort of harm Keir Starmer has done to himself and his government and his party since.
Britain is a safe haven for paedophiles, and I'm not just talking about Pakistani rape gangs. What kind of society lets a BBC News anchor walk free from court after possessing child abuse images involving kids as young as 9, yet imprisons a bloke who sold dodgy streams of Premier League football matches?
Keir Starmer's leadership of the Labour Party is under visible strain, and the pressure is mounting fast. A surge of council resignations has exposed internal cracks, while renewed focus on his time as Director of Public Prosecutions has revived difficult questions about his record. With critics growing louder and unity wearing thin, Labour now faces both internal unrest and external scrutiny that could decisively shape its political future.
Well, he's attacking the leadership of Britain. I mean, he's saying Britain's been terribly badly led, and that the grooming scandal, the mass rape scandal, which has resurfaced, and transcripts of what was said in court have been online, and I recommend you at home don't read them. You won't sleep at night.
Before we continue, if you're finding this political breakdown valuable, take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. A huge percentage of viewers watch without subscribing. It's completely free, but it makes a massive difference in helping us grow. Have you hit that button yet? I appreciate the support. Now back to the story. In a dramatic setback for the Labour Party, 20 councillors stepped down in unison, bringing with them a combined 250 years of party service, a departure that sends a powerful message about the depth of unrest behind the scenes.
Right, 20 councillors in Nottinghamshire have quit Labour, accusing the party under Sir Keir Starmer of abandoning traditional values.
These resignations were anything but impulsive. They were a deliberate stand against what many see as Keir Starmer's shift away from the Labour Party's core principles. Discontent has been building over his approach to critical issues, from the winter fuel allowance amid the cost of living squeeze to the long-running WASPy women's pension dispute, along with his stance on sensitive international matters such as Gaza. For those stepping aside, this wasn't just policy disagreement, it was a breaking point over direction, identity, and what they believe the party should stand for.
Well, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing quite the local revolt that could have far-reaching implications for his leadership and the future of the Labour Party. 20 councillors from Broxtowe Borough Council in Nottinghamshire have resigned from the party altogether. This is a sudden exit of the group and was led by council leader Milan Radulovic.
This goes far beyond one local dispute. Discontent within the Labour Party is spreading across the country, pointing to a deeper structural strain inside the movement. When longtime members begin walking away in significant numbers, it's not a minor disagreement, it's a warning sign. The steady exit of loyal supporters suggests more than frustration. It signals a serious identity crisis unfolding at the very core of the party.
This exodus has cost Labour control of the council and sent shockwaves through the party's ranks. The councillors, now calling themselves the Broxtowe Independents, have accused Starmer of abandoning traditional Labour values. So here are some of the key issues that have led to this split. Winter fuel payments. The government's decision to axe those winter fuel payments for 10 million pensioners has been met with.
The challenges facing the Labour Party stretch well beyond resignations. Its local election results have delivered a harsh reality check. Since the previous cycle, the party has dropped 33 council seats while picking up just 6, a net loss of 27 that speaks volumes. At the same time, competitors like the Conservative Party and Reform UK are advancing, while even smaller forces such as the Liberal Democrats and the Green Party of England and Wales are gaining traction, tightening the pressure and reshaping the political battlefield.
Councillors argue that the move betrays core Labour principles of supporting the vulnerable. The two-child benefit cap. Now, the retention of that benefit cap has been a point of contention. Many in the party's left wing view this policy as punitive towards struggling families. Local government reorganisation. Starmer's plans to create super councils have been interpreted by some as an attack on local democracy.
These setbacks are particularly striking in light of Labour's recent general election win. Rather than capitalising on that momentum, the party seems to be bleeding support at every level. This isn't confined to a single region. Labour is losing ground nationwide, signalling a deep and widespread challenge that threatens its influence across the country.
The Security Minister has rejected it. Her name is Jess Phillips. She wrote back to Oldham saying that the City Council must probe the crimes and that London will not intervene. Now, this decision has triggered backlash on social media, and Elon Musk has joined in.
Elon Musk's recent criticism has thrust Keir Starmer's tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions back into the spotlight. Musk pointed to alleged shortcomings in addressing child exploitation cases during his time at the Crown Prosecution Service, highlighting the 2013 Rodale Abuse Report, which exposed systemic failures by local authorities and law enforcement. Starmer's period in office coincided with these controversies, reigniting debate over his record and accountability.
Most times it's irritating, but in this case, he's making a very important point. On what? The UK's so-called grooming gangs. It all began with a demand from the city of Oldham. Officials there noticed a worrying trend, a rise in reports of grooming and abuse of teenage girls. So the city asked for a public inquiry, a full-fledged probe by the UK Home Office.
The report labelled the abuse an epidemic, and although the CPS was tasked with approving serious charges, widespread delays and case dismissals were documented. Elon Musk's accusations have reignited calls for a thorough review of how these scandals were managed, with conservative figures like Kemi Badenoch lending their voices to the demand for accountability and renewed scrutiny.
But the Security Minister has rejected it. Her name is Jess Phillips. She wrote back to Oldham saying that the City Council must probe the crimes and that London will not intervene. Now, this decision has triggered backlash on social media, and Elon Musk has joined in. He said the minister must be jailed for her decision. He also said judges and cops must be fired. It has now turned into a national debate. Author J.K. Rowling has talked about it. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss has waded in. And everyone is slamming the UK government.
Inside the Labour Party, cracks are widening and becoming impossible to ignore. Steve Edwards openly called Keir Starmer a liar, accusing him of turning his back on the party's foundational principles, while Milan Radelovic condemned Starmer for pushing a centrist agenda that, in his view, erodes local democratic authority. These internal criticisms expose a party struggling with identity and direction at multiple levels.
Let's take a closer look at this problem. What are these grooming gangs? What is their history in the UK, and why is London so afraid of probing them? Grooming here refers to sexual grooming. It is the first step before child sexual abuse. Predators pick their target, they establish trust and emotional connection, and finally they abuse them sexually. These predators convince children that the abuse.
These criticisms reflect a broader unease, as many long-standing members now find the Labour Party under Keir Starmer increasingly unrecognisable. The party's traditional focus on safeguarding the vulnerable, pensioners, children, and other at-risk groups, appears diluted to some, fueling frustration that resonates in councillor constituent discussions. Across communities, dissatisfaction is growing, and anti-Starmer sentiment is becoming harder to overlook, signalling a deepening disconnect between the leadership and its base.
Describing as, a betrayal, it literally is that. I mean, this is up there. This is on a par with, Nick Clegg breaking his pledge on.
Recent polls indicate that Keir Starmer has become the most unpopular Prime Minister in nearly 5 decades, just 5 months into office. His approval ratings are reportedly lower than Margaret Thatcher at her lowest point, and even trail Tony Blair during his decline. Much of this backlash stems from policy missteps, including proposed cuts to the winter fuel allowance and perceived inaction on the WASPy women's pension issue, fueling mounting frustration among the electorate.
Yeah. It had been very clear across the board, across the party. I was in the House of Commons yesterday. I was speaking to a Labour MP and a Central Labour MP. Are we going to see a photo of you holding up a board saying you support WASPy? You said you're bound to. He said, because we all did it. Right. We all did it. And by the way, Labour MPs and Labour cabinet ministers are aghast at this.
The speed of this decline is alarming. While most prime ministers experience a gradual dip in popularity, Keir Starmer's approval has plummeted at an unprecedented rate. If this trajectory persists, the Labour Party could face the serious risk of losing its parliamentary majority, intensifying the pressure on its leadership and future prospects.
Starmer, and what do you make of this petition, my friend?
I mean, on the Starmer point, it's just painful watching him talk, isn't it? It's like he's only recently learned to speak English or something.
Under Rachel Reeves's economic policies, the Labour Party has entered a period of stagnation, with recession fears starting to mount. Although there was modest economic growth prior to the election, GDP has since plateaued under Labour's stewardship. Reeves' proposal for £40 billion in tax increases, coupled with inflation surpassing 3%, threatens to further strain the economic landscape, intensifying concerns about the party's fiscal direction and its impact on households.
When he's asleep, not just any aspirations either.
Yes, no.
Given the nightmare that he's already putting the country through, as is evidenced by all these people signing this petition. I just think that he's hopelessly out of his depth on basically everything, that he's drunk the Kool-Aid, as they say, in thinking, as we've said before, that if you just spend years and years saying the Tories are terrible, the terrible, terrible Tories, and when we get in, it'll be fine because we're good people.
Small businesses are bearing the brunt of these pressures. Labour's initiatives, including Angela Rayner's Employment Rights Bill, are projected to add roughly £5 billion in additional costs for companies. Many owners fear this financial burden could trigger widespread layoffs, putting over 100,000 jobs at risk and amplifying concerns about the party's impact on the economy and the workforce.
Electoral has demanded that the government launches an immediate inquiry into child exploitation in Britain, despite not doing that 14 years in power. And this comes as Sir Keir Starmer is attacked over his handling of the Oldham grooming gang scandal when he was head of the Crown Prosecution Service. With Labour.
The combination of internal fractures and mounting external pressures paints a troubling picture for the Labour Party. Resignations, electoral setbacks, economic strains, and Keir Starmer's declining popularity have created a perfect storm, with some projections warning that Labour could lose up to 200 seats if an election were held today, a stark and dramatic reversal from its recent electoral victories.
Whistleblower who said that when he tried to raise red flags, it was he who found himself on the receiving end of an investigation. And later in the show, I'll be joined by an inspiring single mum from Cornwall, never been involved in politics in her life, so moved by what's going on, so outraged by the political ineptitude to deal with it. She wants to organise a 1 million women march to London. And hey, let's get a few blokes along while we're at it, to show the country we've simply had enough of the politicians, of the councillors, of the media, of the entire establishment burying its head in the sand about this.
Keir Starmer's leadership is under intense scrutiny, not just from the public but also from within the Labour Party itself, as members and councillors voice mounting concerns. This rising internal unrest, combined with intensifying external criticism, has left the party navigating an uncertain and precarious position, highlighting the fragility of its current standing.
Inquiry into his conduct at the time. Well, it's now emerged that Conservatives also rejected a national inquiry into grooming gangs back in 2022 when they were in government. Let's get more on this now with our national reporter, Charlie Peters, the reporter really who's got this story rolling around the world again. Charlie, it just has absolutely kicked off. Yesterday was...
Keir Starmer's tenure at the helm of the Labour Party has sent shockwaves not just through senior ranks, but also across its grassroots base. Historically, Labour drew strength from mobilising communities through robust local networks and committed supporters, yet under Starmer, this once reliable foundation is eroding rapidly, leaving the party exposed and vulnerable at its very core.
Elon Musk getting involved, calling this the worst mass crime against the British people ever, calling for people to be put in jail in British politics. This will not go away. And by Jove, Charlie, you've caused one hell of a furore.
Yeah, it's not every day you break a news line and the richest man in the world shares it, but that's exactly what's happened, and it has gone around like what.
The most striking sign of this widening divide is the exodus of lifelong Labour Party councillors and local activists. These departures aren't quiet retreats, they're outspoken expressions of frustration, focused on what many see as Keir Starmer drifting from Labour's core values, defending working-class communities, safeguarding the vulnerable, and upholding a strong moral stance on key social issues. Far from isolated, these resignations reflect a nationwide pattern, signaling a deepening erosion of trust in the party's leadership.
Latest development in the last couple of hours from Wes Streeting, the health secretary. He's saying that Elon Musk's comments have been misjudged and misinformed. He didn't specify which comments, but I imagine it's his stark criticism of Jess Phillips, the safeguarding minister, after we revealed that she had rejected, after a almost 4-month delay, a request from Oldham Council for a government-led inquiry.
On top of that, the grassroots energy that fuels campaigning has suffered a major blow. Labour's local election efforts, once powered by volunteers going door to door, distributing flyers, and engaging directly with communities, have visibly lost their momentum, leaving a critical part of the party's outreach and influence severely weakened.